Hey, authors. I want to start class by sharing a little bit about our books. We know we've been working to create a final project that's packed with factually accurate information and interesting information about the ecosystem you've been researching. We're writing a book. So let's pause and talk a little bit about them. What are you excited about? What are you proud of? Let's share some of that work we've done. Wow. So it really sounds like we're becoming experts on our ecosystems through the research that we're doing. And I can tell that after all that reading to learn that you've been doing, you really are writing to teach us. So I'm excited to see what else we learn about your ecosystem as we continue to work. So thank you so much to everybody for sharing. So, like I said, we've been writing books. So we're doing it section by section as we research. So my book is called Save the Antarctic. Right now, we are all working on writing the producers and consumers section of our book. We've already done key characteristics. So now we're moving on to the next section. Each section that we write is going to follow the same rubric, which I'll show you in just a moment. But this section in particular is about producers. So those are living things that get their energy from the sun and make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. Plants. Producers are plants. This section is also about consumers. So consumers are organisms that get their energy from eating other organisms. Those are animals. So this section that we're writing, it's about producers and consumers, plants and animals. It will be following this rubric, which is the same one we use for key characteristics. Each section is separate and has its own score or its own grade. So that one is over. This section is going to have another introduction, and that's just a paragraph. That's not like a whole introduction section to add to your table of contents. This is the introduction sentence just to your producers and consumers writing. So you're stating the main idea. There are many producers and consumers in the Antarctic who have adapted to get what they need. You're also going to include 4 supporting details. So that means 2 producers, 2 consumers. When you go to explain, that is where you tell me about their adaptations. How have they adapted to survive? That's the explanation part. So talk to me about those 2 producers, talk to me about those 2 consumers through your writing. And then, of course, we conclude. So we'll restate our main idea. These examples of producers and consumers in the Arctic show how plants and animals have adapted to survive. Something like that. Restate your main idea. And then, of course, you want to make sure you are using complete sentences, you are checking your spelling, and errors don't impact our ability to read. So I recommend when you're done writing, go back in and spend some time checking it. We're lucky that we're at computers with spell check and the internet. So don't tell me you don't know how to spell something. You're sitting on a computer with internet. Figure it out. Let's find it. Use some of those technology skills that we've been working on all year. So we are looking and aiming to get all 2s in this column. So we went through yesterday some of my examples. What I want to do today is show you how I've transferred that into Book Creator, because I showed you my writing in my slides, but we had some formatting questions yesterday. How many pages? What can I do this? Can I split this up? Can I have all my writing on one page? Well, you're the author, so you get to make those choices. So this was my sample introduction. Then I showed you some producers. Remember, you'd have to repeat for consumers. So 2 paragraphs on producers, 2 paragraphs on consumers, and then a quick conclusion. So how did I put that in Book Creator? You're going to notice some changes. I just want this one tab. There we go. You're going to notice some changes about my book because I'm the author of this book, so I've been working with the formatting of it. So my front cover says Save the Antarctic by Miss Fawnin. My table of contents, it lays everything out, but this will be editing as we go. For example, we've already changed producers, consumers to one joint section. So you'll see the work that I had already done with key characteristics. That was the introduction to key characteristics. This was my climate geography section. This was my plants and animals section, and this was my conclusion. Now I'm just turning the page and I'm starting the new section. So producers and consumers has its own heading because it's a new section, just like the table of contents says. Then I decided I'm going to put just my introduction with a nice picture of the Antarctic. So this is the same thing that you saw on this slide. Nothing there changed. I just put it on this page. When I turn, I decided I was going to do both of my plants on one page. You can split that up if you would like. Remember, I haven't shown you a sample of consumers. You just repeat this process. I would put my consumers on this next page. So maybe I'll put 2 on a page with some pictures. Maybe I'll put 1 on a page, flip, put 1 on another page, put some flip pictures. Totally up to you. But then I put the conclusion on the next page. When it's time to write again, all I would do is turn the page and my next section would get its own heading there. So the formatting is totally up to you. Focus on getting the writing in there first and then putting the pictures in there second, because you want to make sure all of the content is there. So if you ask me how many pages do I want you to write, it doesn't matter. I will not ever grade how many pages. The only thing I will ever grade is the quality of your work based on this rubric, not how many pages you have written. It's all about what is actually on those pages. So to wrap things up, and I will pause this video in just a moment to take questions, but today you're working on continuing. So you are going to pick right up with the work you started yesterday, writing your producers, consumers section, introduction in that section, to producers, to consumers, explain their adaptations, write a quick conclusion. That's our focus for today. Make sure you ask questions as you're working. That's why we're here. But I'm excited to see how these continue to come together. So I'll stop this video here and take some questions live in class. Happy writing.